going on in this county. We ask you to give us the strength, the wisdom, and knowledge to make the best decision for this county moving forward. We pray for peace for Dillon County. We pray for strength right now. All this ask your son, Jesus Christ's name, we give it in mighty praise. Amen.
We have a motion to approve the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda, Mr. Chair.
Second.
I second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. I have, several different things we want to bring up. Main thing we want to bring up is elected officials. Salaries are tough, and we want to try to stay in line. And a lot of us will be at the top of the list, but we want to be average anyhow with counties our size. And I got a list of some salaries of elected officials, and the group 4 counties include Dillon, Marion, Marlboro, Chester, Chesterfield, Clarendon, Collington, Edgefield, Jasper, Newberry, Union, and Williamsburg. The population size of these counties is from 25,000 to 50,000. And that's what we'll look at. I'm really concerned about the sheriff's salary, and he's the lowest paid sheriff in the whole district, and he's probably, in my opinion, the best qualified. Sheriff Marion Brian Wallace is a very nice person. I know him. I worked with him when I was an investigator. He just became an investigator, Marion. I worked with him on several cases and stuff. But in my opinion, Douglas has got a lot more experience than he's got, and I'd love to see our sheriff make as much as the sheriff of Marion County makes. Sheriff of Marion County makes about $85,000. Our sheriff makes $68,000. And there's some chief deputies around, and these counties close to us making more than what our sheriff's making. Of course, we got the lowest paid coroner in the whole group. And
Mr. Buzz, can I interject?
yeah.
In reference to the sheriff department, not only is he the lowest paid, but probably fighting the most crime. Per capita, we're probably the worst county in the whole country. With all the killings that we have, missing people, and it's picking up. So I think we need to really look at that and do something as a county council to ensure that he's getting compensated. Also make sure his budget is up to par so he can do whatever he needs to do to hire quality people, keep quality people, and moving forward. Because it's really becoming a problem. I've been getting calls of the violence that we actually have. And I think we really need to look at this, folks. It's not push the can down the road. Let's look at see what we can actually do and be fair about it. Because there's a lot going on with them.
I know when I was the deputy, we had kind of a hard situation where we were located right on the North Carolina line in Scotland County. It's tough. And people just running back and forth across the line and you're back and forth. It's bad for the sheriff of Robeson County and our sheriff. They're working together, but like I say, it's a lot of crime.
How soon can we make this happen, Clay?
Next councilman, you can do it. You can do it at the next meeting, as long as it doesn't impact the budget. If the budget needs to be increased to accommodate it, then you got a little bit longer process. But if it doesn't require, and I don't think it does, then you can vote on it whenever you're ready to vote on it.
I know the sheriff can raise anybody's salary except his own. He's probably got the money in the budget to raise his own salary, but we're going to have to.
Yeah, you all have to raise his salary. He can raise his own, and he can. I don't know if he's not in here, but I think he waited until he got his own department salaries up before he even.
Yeah.
Like I said, we'll discuss this, and can't vote on anything today. It's a workshop, but we'll have it on the agenda next week. And I'd like to see, somebody recommend next week that we have to get paid at least what Sheriff Marion County is getting.
Yes, sir.
think
down
that's,
this list, so.
I think that salary, I don't think it's been, I know it's not been increased since I've been the county attorney, and I don't think it's been increased for more than 10 years, maybe 12 years.
It was here even when I was here, 2016, it was about the same.
So you gotta imagine.
And a whole lot changed since then, maybe a little bit of raise, about 2% or something, not a whole lot.
The only increase has been whatever cost of living increases. There's never really,
Like Garner, he's the lowest paid, Garner around, in 2018, he was making 28,000, Marion County was making 42,589, Marlboro County 26, and the Group 4 average was 35,798. They said that they put some money in his budget for him to get a raise, but he had,
We
got to raise him, we'll have to, how much you put in his budget?
I think it'll be right at 35 something, 30, I think 35.6 or something like that, 35.7. That should get you pretty close.
That's something we need to look into and maybe take care of these meetings. The treasurer, she's making, according to this, in 2018, 44,000, but that is not an accurate number because the state sends back so much to the treasurer to pay, to add to her salary, and I think it's close to 20,000 or more. They can probably tell us what it is. So you add that to 44,000. It shows here where Marion County's treasurer is making 71,344, but I think Marion County's got the state rebate added in for theirs, which ours is 44. We don't have the state added into there, so we have to know what that is so we can really look at it and think.
And also, one thing that too, just for benefit too, is that the treasurer in Dillon County, unfortunately, is in a lot of counties, I think all but about 2 or 3 in the state, have what they call the delinquent tax office. And so I know Marion does, I know Marion and some of these other counties have got a delinquent tax office, so therefore, which is separate from the treasurer. So when your property goes into delinquent tax office will basically handle that part of it. But the way the treasurer's done it here in Dillon, well, you going back to Mayor Repair, as far as I can remember way back, the treasurer does both up here in Dillon County. So there's basically 2 people. Normally you'd have to have a delinquent tax officer plus a clerk or some type of clerk position. So really, we're saving those 2 positions because the treasurer here in Dillon does both. She does both.
We got an auditor that
Yeah, the auditor doesn't handle that part of it. The auditor handles that, but I mean, she does, a lot of counties have a delinquent tax office, and most counties, like when I worked in Lancaster County, Kershaw County, the delinquent tax officer actually worked for me, not for the treasurer. So technically, the delinquent tax officer, was generally it's 2 people in here, most of the time.
the rest of the counties runners have a tax office. Marion County has one. It's up to you. That's the first time I've heard that.
but the way we work is the treasurer handles those responsibilities in her office. So those are separate in some counties.
Right.
But they're not in our county.
Like when you go to delinquent, our treasurer runs the notice, collects it, does the tax sale, the whole 9 yards. Whereas a lot of treasurers don't do that. And there's a lot of treasurers that don't do that. Delinquent tax office does it.
I'm not saying she doesn't need a raise. I just know the 44,000 is not accurate. I think it's about 20,000 higher than that, and it's about 64.
Yeah, I think she got a letter, she provided a letter. She and Kate McKenzie both provided a letter. They broke it out for you, what they were looking for.
Well,
But she's not doing the process by herself, she has assistants.
But she uses her staff, to
Yeah,
help her
so
with
she's
it.
not just doing the job by herself.
Well, no, not totally by herself, but she uses her staff, but she's over that department. She's over that.
that's kind of where I was going, I know we talking about elected officials and giving them raises. I'm for raises if we can see where they need them, but I think we need to look at some of these little echelon employees.
Yeah.
I get a lot of phone calls about our staff that's working under these elected officials and working in our county offices. That's doing work, and we got people, just this week, I was confronted again, a lady 16 years, and I asked her, she stopped me, she said, hey man, can you help us? 16 years, and I'm bringing home $530 every 2 weeks, that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
With a bachelor's degree. county so that we can sit down and look and see what people are actually making and see where we need to be looking at increasing budget so that people can make a fair wage. Because right now we robbing these citizens, man. It's ridiculous that people are working for us and they can make more money at McDonald's.
I do was one of the following things with the treasurer, like I said, I'm not picking sides one way or the other. She can elect not to do that. She can say, hey, let the county do it. If the county did it, we need to have to hire staff to do that, because we don't have staff to do that. We'd have to hire at least 2 people, maybe, for that.
When we said elected officials budget, the elected official is the one that gives raises to the people that work in that department.
That's right. That's right.
And if they got it in the budget, they can give a raise.
They keep.
We just control the elected officials.
Right.
Is that right?
So they don't have to come and get approved for you.
If they got into the budget, they can do it.
Because I've had several
They got into
people,
the
like
budget, they can do it.
elected officials, employees, that they have come to you. I guess they went to the elected officials, and they're saying that they have to get an approval for you. I don't know if it's not in their budget, the reason why they're,
If it's not in the budget, if it's in their budget, they can do it.
okay.
Yeah, so we definitely look at that. And another thing, we've asked about, while we're talking about spending money, we still spend it without knowing what we have. We've asked a couple of times about getting us an itemized list from the treasurer's office showing what's coming into the county, what's going out of the county. We need that list, because we can't go across the board and look at doing increases and making increases on people's salary. We don't even know what we have. We spend the money without seeing it, really. We need an itemized list of what she's bringing into this county and what's going out of this county.
I do give an itemized budget report which shows per month how much money came in for taxes, how much money came in for vehicle tax, how much money came in from EMS, how much money came in from solid waste. It's broken out monthly what came in. So what's expended, if you look at expenditures, it should show in the monthly budget report, and I think you get a check register too. But in the monthly budget report, it said this is how much we spent by line item for those particular departments.
Well, that's fine, but I want to see some grand totals too. Sometimes we can get lost in that. I want to see some grand totals, and also we need to go back, because, when we started this new budget, we still had about $6.5 million left in last year's budget. Where did that money go? Where is that allocated to?
You've got fund balance, which you try to maintain a certain amount of fund balance so you can keep, but if this cash goes like this, all year to year. So to run it, the auditors, when they were here last time, they said you needed about, well, Julie needed minimum 3 months. I think you can 4. 3 months is, every time I run 3 months, I feel like I end up having to do a tax dispatch.
So when you said 3 months, that means that we're able to pay our bills for 3 months without nothing coming in?
No, that's not accurate. 3 months is basically, any particular, like June 30th, they say you have 3 months worth of fund balance in there, cash or whatever it is, fund balance or whatever it is. The problem with that is money comes in every single month. Like taxes, vehicle taxes are paid every month, certain tax, certain stuff. Fees come in every single month. The problem is your expenses for that month, let's just use round number. Let's say it's $1 million. You know what I mean? By the time you pay on all stuff, let's say it's $1 million. Well, you may have only brought in $300,000. So you need cash in the bank as cash reserve to be able to keep you, so you won't have to borrow money to make up that difference. It's $1 million. Let's say you brought in $300,000, you need $600,000 that particular month. The next month you may be in the same situation. Next month you may have another $1 million expense and only brought in $500,000. So you need enough cash flow to get any type of business.
So basically, you're saying we got $6.5 million to see.
No,
in case we
never.
need.
No. You don't understand. It's like running your business. You need cash flow to keep your businesses to be so you can pay your bills. It's not the money's $6 million not sitting in there. Then you got expenses over here. You got expenses occurring every single day, every 2 weeks for making payroll. So you got to have enough cash flow in there to be able to get you through the peaks and valleys. Now, come January, February, we may have an extra $3 or $4 million, $5 million in the bank. But the problem is, by the time June, July, and August come, you start tapping into that fund balance. You start tapping into it.
I think we pay the taxes in
Right.
December,
January, February is big. So, right, you're gonna have more money during those months, but then hopefully you got enough money built up that you can ride through those leaner months, which would be May, June, July, August, September, October. Those 6 months are tough. Those 6 months are tough.
That's all the paper came out yesterday. They had the people that hadn't paid the taxes.
Right.
If we usually get most of that paid.
Yeah, I mean, normally we get
There'll be some money coming in now.
Yeah, they get ready to do tax sale, and, hopefully during the tax sale in November, generally people have to either redeem their taxes or sold at the tax sale. So you generally get this in that time. But the auditor said last year, I hope we're a little bit better. I feel like we're a little bit better shape than we were last year, than the year before. But the auditor said he said we had about 3 months worth of cash flow. So what that means is that's 3 months worth of cash flow. So
That's last year.
that was last year. So I mean, really, if you fall much more than 3 months worth of cash flow, then you're gonna be doing a tax anticipation probably. You're gonna be doing a tax anticipation, borrowing money to pay your bills to anticipation taxes. That's, I don't know how to explain it. Any business would need cash flow to give you the ups and downs of pieces.
But I understand what you're saying about cash flow.
I mean, if you had $10 million in the bank, or $15 million in your bank as cash or fund balance, yeah, you probably have cash you can spend.
So what do we have in the fund balance at this point?
We probably got a couple months, 2 or 3 months in there worth of fund balance. We run $2 or $3 million. Try to keep a couple $1 million, $2 or $3 million in there as we get through the now, like you said, in December, January, February, we'll have a lot more cash because people are paying their taxes. Then you hold that cash back to get you through the winter months. That's what you try to do.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying is for us, we kind of need to know where we at financially, but with every account that we have, that we can operate from, because it's hard to, you can't balance and look at raising and dropping and cutting here and doing this. We don't know what we have to operate on. That's all I'm asking for, because I want to make sure we understand exactly what we have to do. Another thing that employees, we was talking about raises and stuff, I've gotten a lot of calls from the county employees wanting to know about their bonuses. They say, hey, bonuses is in the budget. I know y'all gave us money from CARES Act. That's CARES Act money as a thank you for working during COVID. What's up with the bonuses? So we need to address that, because I don't know what to tell them.
We gave premium pay, not bonuses. We gave premium pay back in August.
The bonuses were budgeted in.
In the budget.
Yeah, we budgeted in.
That's separate.
But we also budgeted $380-something thousand to be taken out of the ARP money, recovery money, balance the budget.
Well, so we.
So wait a minute. So if you spend that money, that's fine. But then come next June to balance your budget, you got to figure out a way to figure out how to balance that $380-something thousand.
Well, we know how to balance that. We got another 2.some million coming in from CARES Act. We'll be fine. I think we can take care of the employees. We look at doing that. They work for them. We got it in the budget. We need to give it to them. Because CARES Act is, that's a
It's not CARES Act. Don't call it CARES Act. It's not CARES Act. It's the American Recovery Money.
Whatever it is, federal money that we got. We got it from the state or the feds or whatever, and we gave that to them as a thank you, so we still need to give them what we owe them. My understanding, we raised taxes or something like that one time, to make sure that we was able to give employees bonuses.
When I was here, but when was that?
I don't know, it's been a while ago, from my understanding, I think that's what.
That was in the
That was the
budget.
last time we raised taxes.
See, that was in the budget, all that was in the budget, but the budget wasn't balanced with that stuff in there. So they had to take some of this money, we just got this virus money, to balance the budget with.
Well, see, but he just said,
We raised taxes,
we voted to spend $300,000
but we didn't raise taxes.
2018. We voted to spend $300-some thousand out of this recovery money, and then it came back and changed from the GO bond. So we still got $300-some thousand that we was gonna spend, and we didn't spend because we used GO bond to buy the ambulances, right?
The money from the
GO bonds is different.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying was originally we was gonna buy it out of this recovery money. So since we bought it out of the bond instead of the recovery, the $300 that we was was gonna spend anyway, and spend it.
Well, that's 300 when it come out of the GO bond, which you couldn't use to.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, we had a recovery money. We voted to spend $300,000 out of this recovery money. You came back to us a couple weeks ago and said, well, hey, I can use the $300,000 out of the bond instead of the recovery. So that means you got 300 left over here because you used it here. Use that 300 to take care of the employees. If we don't do something, we're gonna be in trouble.
Bond money to fund employees.
That's not
No,
what he
man,
said.
you keep trying to change it. Now, I
That's not
said
what he
use
said.
recovery. Use recovery to take care of them, not bond. Recovery. If you don't take care of these employees,
But
we're
you
gonna be
already
in trouble.
taking $382,000 out of recovery money to balance the budget, so you wanna take another
Yeah,
$300,000?
yeah. We
We'll
can't.
take $600,000.
I'm not coming here to run the offices in the daytime. I gotta go to my job. You already doing 3 jobs. If Buzz retired, G at the prison, Trish running her businesses. So we don't take care of them, who's gonna run the county? We got employees leaving us by storm, man.
Well, I disagree with you, pay employees.
Definitely look at making the wages competitive to us.
I agree with that. I tell you,
It's be fair.
I think
They need to know
I
that
have no
we made
problem. I have no
a
problem.
due diligence to do that. If we can keep some quality.
I totally,
I know we can't do it so much, but what we can do, we can do.
Let's do it.
I agree with that. I agree totally with that.
We got an next official, we got an elected official, the auditor. You said $128,000, but the state sends salary back to subsidize that. I don't know how much they send back, you think?
Yeah, the auditor wrote a letter here, she's got a letter here that the county auditor, and she's elected, she said,
It was paid. Of course, Marion County, I doubt it got their state added to it. See, I'm giving them Dillon County 2018, everything else is 2020, so in 2018, some reason salary was not sent in to they could keep up with this.
well, you said it this year. You said it this year, but it wasn't last year.
And, let's look at the court. When give me 52,000, she's the lowest paid clerk of court in the whole area. Marion gets 68,471, Marlboro 56,115, and the group average is 63,927. The probate judge, she's the lowest paid, I see here. Her salary is 52,000, Marion 71,922, Marlboro 60,322, and the group average is 68,437. Looks like we're on the bottom of the total folks. Everything I've seen so far.
Now, you start getting into what the emergency management team is making, like the 911 work. We losing them. I mean, I think we down to 5 or 6 people in that office out of 13 people.
Well, you were telling me, you talked to somebody at 911, and they said that since they didn't have enough people, that they couldn't take the vacation time, and the county, after it goes, accumulates so much, but then the county takes it from me, and they gonna lose the vacation time,
Yeah.
I get paid for it.
That's true, because what can we do about that? 'Cause,
That's a lot of departments down the county.
well, I don't think we need to take vacation time from.
You need departments. I think
No, because if you mess around and you start doing that, and people start walking out, we got a bigger mess. You know, we got to try to hold on to the employees we have. They're working underpaid and they're working overtime, extensive hours because we don't have, I know 911, I'm talking about that because I went into that office and I was bombarded when I went into that office. Those ladies in there have been working 6 and 7 days straight. Yeah, it's 2 shifts, they working 12-hour shifts down there.
I will say one thing. I've talked to a lot of county administrators throughout the state.
If we got, say, 3 911 operators that's been out, they were in the budget, but they hadn't been able to fill the slots, can't Sonny get some of that money and give people raises?
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
You can do it right
You can
then.
roll it back.
They know it's work.
They've been dealing with short.
13 positions funded.
Last season.
You got 13 positions funded, would you rather have at least 10 people working?
We'll take care of them.
And that's what you get.
That's what I
They
suggest.
short of it.
Yeah, the jail too. I got to stop by them. They running the
But
jail
this,
with
as you know,
2 or 3 people.
I do admit though, there's a labor shortage out there. I As I
On
talk
a
to,
shift, 2 or 3 people on a shift.
as I talk to other counties throughout South Carolina, they are, everybody's kind of struggling for employees.
And that's what make it easier from the need, because it's easier to find employment somewhere else.
We can't fill some slots in the county employees that working like that, they
Oh,
should get paid more. Get some of that money paid.
That's what I would do. That's what I recommend. That's what I recommend that you do. You got 13 slots or 12, 13 slots. You get to keying up and take the other 3 positions, kind of filter through there and bring the people up. So you get at least 10 going.
When can we move on?
I already told you, I can do that. I already told you to do that. I already told you to do it.
So we need to bring the council vote?
No, you wouldn't need to vote on it. I already told you to do it.
It's in his budget.
Yes.
You can go ahead and just cut 2 positions and you paying $4 an hour, divided into the months of people you gotta work. Did we have any departments that had money left in their last year's budget?
I'm sure it was, but it rolled over. The budget closed out June 30th. So that would be part of cash reserve. You have to go back in the budget. If you want to spend all your cash reserve, that's fine.
No, I'm not saying that, I'm just saying, but
Spend
we
it all,
got,
and then we do it.
no, we gotta keep up, that's revenue though, that's all I'm saying, that's revenue. If you allocated $100,000 to my budget and I only spent $50,000, that's something we need to know, because that's $50,000 to the good we got for the next budget.
So you say when it rolls over, what actually happens?
Basically, all accounts are closed out June 30th. So whatever, of course, we have expenditures in July, August, we have.
If one department don't spend their total budget,
Yeah,
whenever it rolls over, they get what's in the budget next time plus.
Yeah, that's the question.
Where
Where to go?
Where did that money go? That's
If
what
I
I'm
run
asking.
under budget, like I did last year, I ran under budget in my department, then I just ran under budget.
So where did the money go?
The money you got left.
It's allocated, keep in mind.
Well, it doesn't roll over. Whenever we do a new budget every year, we start out with new numbers. We don't do those. What if I ran over budget?
Okay, I understand that, but what, you gonna have
So
some
do I start
departments
with
that
a
run
follow
over.
you?
If I'm running over, and I got,
Can't do that. That's why you pass a new
I'm running
budget.
the department, I got $100,000 this week.
I mean, it works the opposite way too. So you just, what you do is you take the budget to June 30th, and some people, for instance, didn't fill the position last year. So the position wasn't filled during the year, so they ran on the budget.
I get it, but where the money go, that's what.
Yeah, that's my question. If you allocate 100,000, you only spend 75, you got 25,000 next to roll over to the next budget.
But you may have had another department that may have spent more than that.
So what you do offset everybody
It
else.
offset,
So that's what you do with the money that's
So
left.
the budget at the end of the year finally closes out, and whatever's closed out.
Let's get that department that lost that money, next time they gonna spend it.
They try.
Is that the way to do it? Is that the normal way to do it?
Normal way it does.
That's what we should be doing?
That's the way it works, is that you pass the budget, and then at the end of the year, you gotta close it out sometime. You gotta close it out sometime. And the law requires you to close it out at June 30th, because our fiscal year runs from July 1st to June 30th. So, June 30th, you cut it off. So therefore, whatever's left over is cash reserve or fund balance that's left over goes into, some years you ran a surplus. A lot of years I was here, we ran surplus. But some years you ran actually a negative. So therefore, instead of, even though you may have a department that had a $50,000 savings, the overall total budget was actually under budget.
So
Like for instance, 2 years ago, you ran a deficit.
So is there a list of departments? 911,
Right.
Sheriff's Department, make roads and bridges. Is there a list of departments is there a list that we can see that say, hey, this department had $30,000 left, this one was over 50,000, this one had
You get a monthly
75.
budget report.
That's in that.
That's that monthly budget report I look at.
The expenditures
Yeah.
that we put in your book every month.
That's what I look at. That's how I monitor. I don't go in and look at it. I look at the
It
total.
shows you exactly what's being spent
By line.
in each department.
Yeah, by line.
And what each
No, I'm talking
department
about
brought in.
for the closeout, when we get ready to start working on the budget.
Yeah, it
Closeout,
shows
that goes
total.
back into that $6 million you talking about. That's where that money's at.
It shows, every,
That's part of that.
whenever I give you a budget report, I don't have, whenever I give you a budget report, it shows what we budgeted for the general fund. I think this year was $19,020,000, whatever it is. It'll show every month, it'll show what you brought in versus what your budget is for the year. So you can monitor that month, really month after month after month,
And each department,
and by department.
because it's got the monthly,
You got a
and it's
monthly,
got
you got a monthly
the
budget report that shows all the revenue that came in versus what your budget is, and all expenditures versus what your expenditures were. Every single month, you look at that report, and that's what it shows. I don't want you to know what it's doing. It's done in every county I've ever done, county I've ever worked in, I'll see.
Y'all got any more questions y'all want to ask him about the elected officials? Because I feel like in our regular meeting where we can vote, some things will come up with the fund, give raises or whatever. So got any other questions that we need to say exactly what the auditor and treasurer and so,
I think before the next meeting, we should need to have some numbers and know before we actually have a council meeting.
maybe we can get
Proposed.
Yeah.
Department. Or each official.
Is that possible, Clay?
Yeah, I'll send you out and tell you what each official position, we fund up to. About that.
down number 5 now, if we did propose when you transfer station.
Yeah, but Sheriff, I got a proposal from Smith Gardner, who's our engineering firm. They gave us, actually, there's a long time ago, too. I got them to updated, and they're doing the repairs at the transfer station now. And in fact, they're doing some repairs at it now. And to build a new transfer station, you flip over on page 4, it actually shows how the breakdown is, $88,700 to do the engineering for the building a new transfer station. It's built one right beside the one we got. So the idea is we'll basically we'll build a transfer station right beside the one we got. And once that was built, we would basically tear that one down, tear the old one down, and then just basically drive past that one to go to the new one and then come back out.
This $88,700, well, this is $89,000 pretty well.
Yeah.
Is that just, just architect is on the plans and then they gonna follow it?
Yeah, basically, if you look at this right down here, it's got the first topographical survey, and it's got the, the surface, whatever surface, they gotta do subsurface study, they got design drawing specifications, then you got solid waste management system permit, application, stormwater, and tent application, which is all on there. So basically, they will basically submit, they will draw a set of plans, which we'll have to agree to, based on what we hear. And we'll submit those plans to DEC. DEC will have to approve those plans. And then once DEC approves it, then they'll basically go out for bids and basically bid it out. And then whoever gets
When we
bid
get it out, these people gonna see that they follow.
Yeah, they will oversee,
Like they could to be.
Yeah, they will-
Right.
right, they will oversee the building, they will oversee the project.
yeah,
Hey, Mr. Chairman, I want to go back to one thing that we was talking about. And I know we kind of dancing around it because we want it to be an elephant in the room, but it be one anyway. We was talking about raising elected officials. Earlier, we were looking at even the council. Council hadn't been raised. I think, Alan, we can talk about that a little bit, because you mentioned it one time before while we're talking about it.
Yeah, and pretty much, okay, this is kind of the way it works, all right? So with elected officials, you all have to raise their salaries. They can't raise their own. But you can't raise your own until, you can go ahead and vote to do it right now if you want, not right now, but the next meeting if you want to. It will not take effect though until a new council's sworn.
Right.
So, you can raise the salary for any elected official pretty much any time you want to, unless the budget needs to be amended to do that, except for your own. But I don't think your salary's been increased much at all either over the last many, many years, and it is time to look at that too, in my opinion. That's a suggestion.
So by law, the council has to change over before it.
So it'll be next January before it goes
That's
into
right.
effect. Well, yeah, because I was looking earlier, and we are relative, Clay and I actually looked at this this earlier, relatively to the same amount of people in Dillon County as Jasper County. And we behind them, I think we had like 15, and they had like 17,472 is what they're at now. So I think that's something else we need to look into.
Well, and I'll tell you this too, and I don't know that most citizens realize this. I would be, I think I can say this without even researching it. I would be shocked if there are any other counties, especially in the PD area, PD Branch area, that meet as often and as willingly as you all meet. Especially over the last 2 years, to get things done, to get things that were needed to be done. And I know that some citizens say, you know, you're meeting once a month and you get this salary and that's paying, that's not the case. I know that, and you all know that. You're also taking,
At least once a week.
you're also taking phone calls, you're meeting in committee meetings and things like that. So I know that the citizens really don't understand that all the time. The things that are done on a regular basis by our county council. But I do think you need to address it, but you've got time, because it's not going to take effect anyway until January of, well, that be 2023.
I just thought when we were talking about looking at the rest of the elected officials, we might as well go in and put it into effect and then take, you know, well, not put it into effect, but vote on it while we vote on everything else and then go into
I think
effect.
it's a good time to do it while you're doing everything else, and that way it's out of the way.
But we wait and then in January mess around and come and you wait another 2 years for it to actually happen.
Clay, going back to the, solid waste company. The second to last page, the third bullet. As mentioned, it was not included in this 88,000.
Yeah, those are not covered. Be it procurement assistance, instruction, administration. Yeah, we'll ask him, you know, what that is, what that proposal is. We'll ask him if that's, yeah, there may be an increase there if we ask him to do that. I thought we probably should. She's right, it's right on the front page.
That's gonna be extra money that we probably have to pay.
It'll probably, yeah, if we ask him to do that part of it, we'll do that. Does cover pre-design time.
Well, this proposal here for the station, now your transfer station, we're gonna have to vote on that this coming meeting.
Yeah.
Decide if we want to hire these people to do it for 88,000.
Yeah, yeah.
That's something we can look into.
This is the only proposal we have?
Well, Smith Yard is the one that's been doing our work. I didn't hire him, but this has been the one that's been done the last 4 or 5 years. I think it's been done the last 5 years.
I think they already voted on using Smith Island.
To do the repair.
We gotta have 3 bids, I know.
Not on professional services. Unless you want to. Like he gets that.
I would like to have one of these.
They were figuring the transfer station we got out there now, the roof about to fall in, and they started working on it.
Yeah, they're give proposal back to us probably at the next meeting to finalize everything. We did pour the concrete before, but they may give us another proposal to actually repair.
Look at it, somebody's gonna get killed out there.
Yeah, Clay, another question. Why wouldn't we make that, protocol to make sure that we get other bids to make sure we saving money without getting any,
Or spending money
Yeah.
asking.
for that kind of money, why wouldn't we get 2 more bids to make sure we
I
save
did
money?
not get another proposal, I just, y'all just been guarded for the last 5 years, so I just assumed y'all want to keep giving something. I didn't think, I didn't think.
No, I ain't nobody,
We
you know.
need somebody else in office here.
That's the reason why we need other bids, because we've been using it for the last 5 years.
We not save $10,000. We may save $10,000 or $15,000 by getting other bids for that kind of money. You know?
What did we do with that?
We can spend it, we're gonna get, I'll call 3 bids on stuff.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. It was just something.
That large, seemed like we wouldn't have to rebuild.
Well, they have been the one that's been basically running the transfer station.
Put it out.
They have been one getting the permits, helping with the transfer, helping with DA and all that over the last 4 or 5 years. Like I said, I didn't hire them. They already here when I was hired, but I mean, they have been the ones that have been getting the proposals out there. But I mean, if you want to get another bid, that's fine, or another couple of bids, I can ask somebody to get your proposal.
What are we doing with that mobile unit that's out there? Ain't this, the transfer station ain't this out of the landfill?
Yeah.
You know, we was dealing with that mobile issue there, we got that fixed.
I think Tony Collar's out there to address the issue, whether
They
it's
said it worked. But do that.
They can say that. I went in there personally, I know. I personally walked in there. And Tony called me back and said that it was. I took this bus out there, we went out there together.
I'm gonna say water coming up through the floor.
See, he tell you right now, he said water coming up through the floor. There's some serious issues out there, we got employees working in there, and I think it's unsafe, really. I mean, you got somebody working in there with asthma.
I know Tony's been out there 4 or 5 times and fixed whatever he had to fix, but I'll ask him tomorrow. I'll definitely get with him tomorrow and find out what the issue is. He didn't fix it, I don't know why he didn't fix it, or if he can't.
Well, I just think, when you're talking about building a new transfer station, if you gotta keep doing little stuff to that building, we'll probably look at trying to get a decent unit and make working conditions better for the employees out there.
They said way back, this long before any of these council, mayor, anybody else was here. When they started to build that place out there years ago, county council pulled some strings with some friends, and they bought a mobile home to make an office out of it. It had been in flood water. Water had been on the sewer, and that's where that thing came from, this out there.
And it came out of the flood zone. So that mobile
That was a
home,
long time ago, 20 years ago.
I know we're a little bit of his $6,000 insulated word. That's the longest.
We will definitely address that.
I always say that whenever we do get the money and can do anything to replace the thing, it be made out of blocks and build up higher enough so when these trucks come in, when they weigh them and stuff, they don't have to look up, they're at the same level as the truck. So that's what all the other landfills that he's been to. And, I mean, that's something we've got to look at in the future, we can't do it right now.
yeah, the $6,000 bill you talking about maybe something that's a temporary fix, I mean, just to make working conditions better for the employee that's down there suffering with asthma working in the building with cold or something. I think that's,
Oh, that's 2 you got one. Yeah.
If somebody other than Tony, he confused.
well, I went in there personally, so I know what it was like.
Is there anybody close to Smith Garden that does this type of stuff? You know?
Yeah, I mean, there are other engineering firms that would give you proposals, yeah. 4 or 5 engineering firms out there.
I see the other council, I mean, I see their forms, I mean, that's a lot of money. And it might be right in line, it might be cheaper, it might be a lot higher, we don't know.
We should know.
Yeah.
And it won't cost nothing to get the bid.
Number 6 now, strategic planning section. And those.
Mr. Chair, I want to see the council, it's not talked about.
Things that we need to try to do and set goals and set our number 1 priority and have something working for next year.
So you said to go down to the council, what we can do, working together to make sure
Yeah.
that we're showing some productivity, moving the county forward as far as, we talked about economic development. Directly, we had put that in place, I think we really do need that, make sure we, get the industries in here. That was something you was real good at, Clay, when you was in that position. If we can look at getting somebody that, that you job.
Yeah.
But we actually did that. You're doing a lot of job. So we want to make sure that we're not falling short on anything as far as growing the county. We just sitting on that, but I think that needs to be dealt with.
And it'd be better for your health too. You live on. Well, we just trying to take something off you. You can't do everything. Even though you want to, I want to do everything, but if you can't,
Be realistic.
you gotta be realistic about things.
If it's just not good, young man. Like when you were doing a job in 2018, I personally felt like you were doing a great job at it. At least we can at least talk to somebody to see if you, by you having that as a specialty, you can interview somebody and say, well, I think he'll be good at that job. And then at least we'll have that in place. Not cut you off.
I agree with you. I mean, to me, I think looking at standpoint too, and that is, to go back and look at the public-private partnership board. I mean, I think that's important, especially the private side. See if we can get those players to come back to the table in some form or another. I think that a lot of counties in South Carolina that I've worked with over the years, and let's look at Florence and Darlington and Marlboro, Horry County, and all these other counties. I think if we could get the Duke Energy's, PD electors, Marlboro electors, the Port Authority, the CSX Railroad, we could get people like that back to the table. Add in Wyoming Port, add in Harbor Freight, add in Crillon, add in Spectrum Courts down there, at Latin. We're having, SC Commerce and us are having a meeting sometime in November, and I was going to try to talk to them and see if we could get them back to the table. What a lot of counties do in South Carolina is they require, a membership, a lot of these companies serve on the board. You can be a gold member, you pay whatever gold member, you can be a silver or gold or a membership ticket, and there's a way to get back in there. And there's really a way to fund a lot of economic development activities, especially fund the salary and benefits for an economic development director. And also fund other things that these players will probably give to that organization. I think you've got an opportunity, and I know you've got a 501c3 set up on the private side, and I think those players would probably come back to that side and participate at some level or another to do that. I know, for instance, a lot of counties, like when I worked in Kershaw County, Lancaster County, that organization would actually collect money through membership, through how they collect through their thing, and they would turn around and give it to the county, and they would help offset the expenses of running the economic development department. And to me, it's an easy way for the county not to have to spend its money. That way they get a little participation in the process, but also they give money toward the process. And I think you can bring those guys or those people back, to the table, by using the private side of the private ones.
Now, when I cut you off.
Yes, okay. I was going to say, Clay and I talked about this several times, and I may have talked to some of you about it. I think the idea is to, for the individual council members, and Clay, and I think he's got his own list of top priorities, for you all to come up with your own list, and then get together in a setting like this to discuss which one of those you want to prioritize. So you have some focus and some goals in mind as a council for you all and for the staff to achieve. But and if it's 6 that you come up with, that's fine, because but generally speaking, focus on 5 things that you think you can accomplish this year. And
one thing that I'm really interested in, I know he is too, is fire. And the fire millage, we didn't put it on last year because it ran up, because it didn't have enough time. If we look into that, it's something we need to start on right now and figure out. And so we need to get the fire departments operating.
Also, we're looking at talking about combining them. We're going to get grants as one fire department. I think we'll come out. But that's just my opinion. We met a couple of times.
I ain't talking about building the fire,
put them together. One fire department. I think we can.
so that's the thing. So it may be that you, as council members, the two of you may think that's an important thing. It is an important topic. And another might not have considered that, and they may agree with us. Oh yeah, that's needs to be one of our highlights. something, that's why, I think that's why he wants to bring it to you now, so we can go ahead and kind of make a decision on what those things are, that we can focus on. Not that you can't focus on things that pop up when you need to. When you have 5 things in mind that you know gotta get done this year, then it's easier to check them off.
I came up with 5 things, just looking at things, kind of looking at things based on that. One of the first ones I came up with, population decline. Why is Dillon declining population? Why is Marion declining? I know our region's decline. I mean, look, I know the census is probably not correct. I mean, I'll be the first one to admit, I don't think we got out of the county part. But even with that in mind is, when you go back and you look at this sheet here that I gave out, it goes back to 2000. Dillon was supposed at 30,722. 2010 went to 32,062. Now we've dropped down to 28,292. I mean, even if I went back from 2000 all the way back to 1970, the population is pretty much the same. Even though we're bringing in industry and doing things we need to do, I think that's an issue that the COG's looking at. I think that's an issue the state's looking at. I mean, as I look at Marion and Marlboro, they're down in population. In Florence County, for instance, only grew 0.1%, 0.3%. I mean, so that's going to become a lot of the issues. First thing is going to become a workforce issue. It's going to make it hard for you to attract industry here, do things you can without
One thing, Clay,
without doing it.
that going around with what you're saying is, I think we need to make the county more attractive. If you look at the major corridors in the county, they all look like dumps. They need better lighting, they need to be clean, they need to look like somebody actually care about this town.
That's what we do.
Those are things that's something that we need to look at. And we take for granted because we live here, this is 95. But when you get off 95 at Lowe's, first thing you see is a bunch of old tires stacked up there from here to here. I mean, you go down by the other exit and weeds growing up over the sign that say welcome to Dillon. I mean, it looks trashy. We need to take better care and more pride
That's
into
one aspect.
our major
That's just one small aspect.
That's a major, yeah, but first impression.
I was talking to Clay, and we both agreed that these intersections and stuff where people get off ought to be lit up.
Yes.
People not gonna get off something dark at night.
Especially they don't know your area. They get scared.
I think you're going to address the housing issue. I got 2 people coming, I got 2 groups that's coming in, one for the beach, and I got another one coming in from another area, that's big housing developers. They're looking at sites throughout Dillon to see if they can build not just one house, but like a community.
Well, that's tapping into the opportunity zone. We're in the opportunity zone.
The whole county's opportunity.
But we haven't tapped into that funding. Senator Tim Scott made sure, Dillon County's in that opportunity zone. I think we need to tap into that funding, which goes back to something that we've been saying a long time too, as far as trying to get a grant writer in our county so we don't miss out on all this funding that's coming through.
The second thing I had on there was infrastructure, which is water and sewer. The sewer aspect in the county right now is getting to the point where, I've been talking to Glenn Wagner. Glenn Wagner and I did a study through the EDA, and they've got a study proposal to build a new wastewater treatment plant, hopefully toward the Great Petey River, because that's where you need to flow the Great Petey River to get there. Mike Hanna did the study, the engineer did the study, it was paid for by EDA grant. It's about $40–50 million. I think there's a way to get $25 or $30 million through a grant through EDA. And what I like to do is I like to pursue that grant with the city, because okay with y'all, we kind of team up and see if we can apply for the grant. I know there's money available out there for that through the council governments. And I think that we need to be a partner with them to try to get that together. So if y'all don't mind, I'd like to still pursue that with me. I'm not obligated to the county anything at this point. But I'd like to go ahead and at least try to see if I can get that. Because y'all know there's money out there right now, and we need to figure out a way to see if we can get that.
Sounds good. While we're talking about infrastructure, I-73. What's the deal on I-73? What happened? Where we at? Where there's a county? Is the city making a decision on it? Or county
City.
What's going on with that?
The city passed a resolution
In opposition.
in opposition to I-73.
So what are they proposing? Why wouldn't this be something that the county want? What's y'all take on
Things will happen whether we agree with the city or
That's a
not.
done deal.
There were 2 routes basically through Dillon. One is on the other side of Ladder, which is the one they chose. actually pretty close to where the inland port is.
It is. It's on this side of Buck Swamp, which basically ran down,
Would have been a great place for it.
right where the Textiles would have been the first intersection right there, right there, Textiles there.
That would have been a great place for it, but, I mean, that's pretty much water under the bridge. They've done all the studies, started, and they've done all that. I don't think there's any change of where it goes. I don't think so, and I don't think there's any chance of that, change of where it goes, but
It ain't gonna benefit Dillon County.
there'll be one exit, Dillon County, and it's gonna
That's
be
your
in.
Marion County line.
No, it's gonna be right there at the,
The old road, only thing you can do on the interstate, get on or get off, it's not a.
Yeah, that's right. At
We gonna
95,
be responsible for a car catching on fire or accident out there, but how we gonna get on it? We're gonna have to go all the way to Marion County, come back up, or go out there on 95, turn around and try to come back.
I think that's what we need to look at frontage roads.
That's me, I didn't have to put some kind of.
I was thinking there was an exit, there was gonna be an exit just outside of Loud.
it is, it's gonna be right there at the industrial park, right there at this county.
There,
Right there by the water.
Ports, spectrum ports.
No, it's gonna be right here where,
Some leaf action.
Collins Motors.
Where it is.
Supposed to be Collins Motors, and then the other interchange in Marion County is gonna be at, Highway 41.
we get one right there where the water plant is, where the city can't allow water plant.
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a small one there.
There's one exit in Dillon County.
That's on 501, right on the Marion County line, so leaf action, and then they've already got highway department's already part of that farm, that's where the interchange is gonna be. That's right on the line. The other interchange is gonna be at Marlboro County, right before you get into Dillon County.
And whereas 95 will tack on to 73, there's no access.
You get on 73 or get on 95.
And you're getting on 73 off
Just like
95, or getting on 95
I-20
off
goes on,
73.
I-20 goes on 95, it's gonna be like I-20 going on 95.
But now you can get, when you get on 95, but now when you get on 95 at Oak Road, then you can go over and get on 73, but that's a little complicated. I mean, for emergency response.
One other thing is too, and like I said, I'm gonna quickly get through one third things I said is economic development projects and planning, and that is, we're doing some good things. I mean, we're actually gonna get the interstate 4 lane right there at 34, what I call right there where the tire place is, hopefully do away with the tire place as we do this 4 lane section here down Long Street. We hope we will get that project done. We're looking at doing some improvements down on Fairfield Road. There's at least one or two, there's one spec building Marlboro Development we've already put up, and we're looking at putting in at least two more spec buildings there. And then we're looking at, getting a road, we're doing a transportation study that's gonna basically tell us to put a road from Fairfield Road over to the West Countryside and to Dayton. And then we're gonna address the issue there, going across the bridge. We're gonna look at somehow 4 lane 34 on the other side of the interstate all the way out to 38. So that's two aspects of it. That project's already funded, Transit Systems is already working on that, hopefully that project will be done. The water and sewer grant proposal we got through EDA was funded, that through us and the city of Dillon and through COG, was to build a new wastewater treatment plant. That's already been done. The third study, in my opinion, is what I wrote when I was at COG. And that is, we wrote a grant to develop a master plan for the Port Authority. What the master plan does is going to take the Port Authority, and it's going to look at the Port Authority, it's going to look at all the economic development sites in Dillon County, also look at the economic development sites in the other 6 counties in our region plus ORE. And it's going to help us develop a plan to see what we need to do. That's one aspect. The second aspect of that plan is to identify the industry that goes along with the port. So we're going to look at these other ports like Houston and all these plants, Jacksonville, and all these other plants to see what we need to do. And then the third aspect is we need to be able to go and tell the economic impact of the state. That study should be finished. It's already finished, and we're going to be able to lay that out in this week. Once we do that, then we can basically go out there and start fishing for the industries we think will come to Dillon County and come to the port. That is a huge deal. That is not a small deal. That is a humongous deal. That's what brought the ports back to the table. That's what brought commerce back to the table. That's what 6 counties or 7 counties back to the table, that aspect would be able to start going out there and marketing ourselves. And that's something we need to team up with Commerce and Dillon to actually go out there and market to those counties. That's something we've never done. That's something no county's ever done, exactly, from my side. That too. But I think that's getting ready to lay out nicely. Those two things I had, staff reorganization and emergency services, but I think y'all mentioned fire group, yes, all emergency services.
Well, you and I had a conversation before, we were talking about, more comprehensive administration, because we waste a lot of money trying to upkeep these old dilapidated buildings that just need to be closed. I mean, you got, I go where Danny Odie and water down in the basement, got something down. I mean, we need to look at seriously purchasing and acquiring some land, or having somebody donate some land to us or something if we can, and building a comprehensive administration building, because we need it. We have a lot of old buildings that we keep trying to upkeep, trying to keep up. We probably spend a ton of money, whether it be painting or fixing them, water leaks.
We have staff all over the place. You're all right. One of the issues I've got is, I got a lot of staff over there, and staff back here, and staff all over the place. And it makes it hard for whoever the administrator is.
This man from Charter Communications came in, we were getting, infrastructure all over, and they were going to put, wireless, they were going to run, fiber cables and all that kind of stuff. And he made it sound like he said some roads you go down there for about 3 or 4 houses on, but we going down these roads. I've heard that Little Rock and the Carolina section is left out. They're not even on the map. These people not even considering running anything, so we have to look at, maybe he's trying to find somebody else. This man, this led us, after he told me, I thought it was going to be in a little bit of a county.
That's true.
I think that, right, that section up there in Little Rock area, north of that area.
That's the biggest problem in there. I'm telling you, they got
I
to
think
think
that, HDTV, so they would work with us to get it up there in a very short period of time. So I think that's something we need to support
We
that.
need to look at, we need to help everybody in the county, and if these people can't do it, we need to look at somebody that can.
Y'all willing to work with, I'm willing to work with anybody.
Anybody who can help us out there in this country area.
That's where they really suffering. So if we can have something in place by the next county meeting, we start talking about it, we need to wait to see what they actually want to do. Especially if we know they're not going to help us out.
I'll be here for it.
We need it.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and.
I've been getting a lot of calls on that.
They
Get
say
some
with Lakeview right now, these people that put Marion counties in and Nickel, they've already got Nickel to about completed, they're willing to come into Lakeview and get Lakeview to the fork, whereas these people don't even have all Lakeview, there's another fork I don't think.
I will have a proposal to this next week.
I think we had a good discussion today, again, more things everybody wants to bring up, have much of this done.
We are gonna have public safety big, okay? We'll talk about fire department and all that stuff out there next week.
I think each councilman here can put down 5 priorities, and like they were saying, and if we get together, some of the priorities will probably be the same thing. Somebody might come up with one that everybody likes, and have some of those. You got that with me?
Now, I got a question for you before we close in reference to this night close. The ordinance, city ordinance, county ordinance, there are a lot of killing moments. I know there's ordinances put in place for time frames and alcohol sales. What can we do as a county to kind of make those club owners accountable for what's all the violence that's going on?
Well, they may be liable civilly for the folks that are injured there, which is a part of the county's involved. But I think the sheriff, from what I understand, has worked with the solicitor on some of those areas about getting them shut down anyway. But that's something they have to do, I understand, through the solicitor's office. But if there's something specific you think the county needs to do,
If we don't so many complaints with this place, it needs to close down. We take the license and not renew the license, but we don't have anything like this.
We don't have, we don't
Business
have that.
registration,
Yeah, we
not
just,
business license.
right.
Well, we had-
We can definitely, I mean, it's definitely something we can do. But,
Yeah, Alan's looking at that nuisance thing, and he got, I gave him a copy of that, see what we can do to modify that. See if we can get something, pass something on those lines.
but they also have to have a South Carolina, they have to have a business license too. And that's another avenue to pursue. If they don't have that, they can't operate either.
How you think it'll go if we met with these potential club, or these club owners in the county as a council, met with them and kind of find out what's their plan? Do they have any course of action going on at the clubs? Are they doing searches? Are they, do they have security? How long do they watch something escalate before they actually reach out to our local law enforcement? And it's Wild Wild West, because, some clubs do it, some clubs don't. But you have some of them that seems to be kind of habitual offenders. This stuff happened there constantly. And, we don't, our sheriff and the sheriff's department is there to protect and serve, but we don't need to put them in harm's way because of foolishness either.
I agree with that. I don't know that I would meet with the owners of these places and tell them how they have to operate. You can give them some guidelines for times and things like that, places they can operate, things like that. I don't know if I'd be meeting with them.
Well, I'm not saying meet with them and tell them how to operate, but I'm just saying let us hear from them, some of the issues that they may be having, and then we can kind of see how to work together to solve the problem. I think we can come to some kind of common consensus in a better light if we actually involve them and not actually just strong arm them. Because you got some,
sheriff
the
And
sheriff.
it sounds like, that sounds like as a council, you're the governing body of the county, so I understand where you're coming from. But that does sound like more of a sheriff law enforcement function to me. And I think he's dealing
with that.
In the process of trying to get some stuff done. Cool.
So what do we do when we have a situation like we had the other week when they go and say, well, there ain't nothing we can do because there ain't no ordinance in place for the county?
as far as closing stuff.
No, it was some incident, I don't really know the in-depth details of it, but there was an incident where they were asking about county ordinances for things, and we didn't have.
We're looking at that, and I can give you an update on it.
That ordinance, see what we can do from a nuisance standpoint, what we can do to address that issue.
Another question.
Planning and zoning, that doesn't have anything, you just over that committee, does that have anything to plan where you put clubs and that kind of stuff?
You can, but I don't, and I think you can do it going forward, but I don't think you can change where somebody is currently if they're already operating.
They'd be grandfathered in.
Yeah. So you going forward, you can, but you have to be careful. I mean, and that's a specialized area of law too, is doing that, because they're, and
I know before we got on council, they specified 301 North one.
Yeah.
Really clubs and that kind of stuff.
Exactly. And you could do that, but you can't do it in a way that there's no way you can operate, in other words. Some towns have done it where, you have to operate within a half-mile area, which you can't even get a water and sewer in, something like that. You can't do that. And so it's a very specialized area of law, and if y'all want to look at that, I have contact information for an attorney that specializes in that kind of stuff, because it's really very detailed.
I think that, and Alan's 100% correct. Our zoning ordinance is going to be upgraded and updated. And I think that's the time to go in and address those issues in the planning and zoning process, and do the planning commission say, hey, this is some areas we want to tighten up over here, or whatever we need to do. I think that's an opportunity to address that. I think Cassie's got some ideas. I think Mr. Rice and Cassie both got some ideas they want to do. They think put a little bit more to the property and stuff.
I think it should be done. You don't want somebody to be able to open up just anywhere they want to open up. And operate, you wouldn't want in your neighborhood, we'll look at it.
What about the ordinance we talked about? Yeah, we talked about, you got a house
About
beside
the
her
house.
house, and all kind of stuff.
Not this one.
How about this?
There was ordinance in place, I don't think we enforced the ordinance, or we complete it, we brought it to the council some years back. What's the details on that, like, what we can force,
Well,
there's a
there-
house that's,
And, well, there is an ordinance in place to deal with it. If you want to pursue, we did some of them, and it's very expensive. It's part of the problem.
And I know when me and you were working, we had a lot of clubs in people's backyards and stuff, and they'd have a house there and have two clubs in the backyard, and always all kind of trouble going on.
And you never knew which door to knock on.
There's several, I'm not calling any names, but clubs that were privately owned, private property, people live right there too, so. And we'd have a shooting about every.
What could we do about that?
Well, that would be part of some plan of zone. Keep them in a certain area. Yeah, you can have requirements about what they.
See, like I said, good thing about it, our county's zone countywide. So you're in some district, no matter where you're at in the county, not city, but in the county. So, you know, if somebody's, like Alan said, if somebody's running a business out the back of their house, and they're in the R2 district or R1 district, which is a rural district, that's not, they're violation of zoning. So therefore, you know, Mr. Bryson can go out there and write him a ticket and say, you need to cease and desist, if not, we're gonna bring you in front of the judge.
And I know one club, they called the old folks home, and there was another one right beside it, the same owner owned both of them. And the young people went to the old folks home, and the other one, and we have a shooting out there about one.
yeah. Back to the question I asked you, okay, I want to get some clarity on it. See, my issue is, there's a house beside the lady's house, and everything is going on, the house is about to fall in, a kid can go in the house and fall down on it. The owner of the house ain't gonna do nothing with it. What can we do to initiate some type of paper trail to the owner of the house and within the law to let him know if he don't do something, we gonna do something. I know it will cost a lot, but what can we do to actually kind of put the pressure on?
The way the ordinance works is, the way as it's written right now, is if someone who lives within, I think it's a mile,
Okay.
which is Kellywood, I think, is next door,
Yeah.
can file a complaint.
She did that.
Our code folks go out and look if it's, if they consider.
They did that yet. Okay, so what kind of report we
I'll
got?
have them go out and do a report, is that right?
And if they determine it's unsafe, then they go, and basically order them to fix the problem.
Okay, this is the problem. This is going on 2.5 months old. The lady filed a complaint. They were supposed to went and check it out, and we should at least have that done so we can have something on the desk now to say, well, this is a hazard, or whatever, so we can forward the paperwork. That should have been at least done.
We'll get that done.
Yeah, we need to get it done so I can tell her yay or nay, or at least put the pressure on them to do something, because it's an issue.
If they don't do it, then it gives us an opportunity to tear it down, is that right?
It does.
And if we tear it down, it belong to us, wouldn't it?
No,
It wouldn't.
that's the problem. It costs, it really does, it's
About
$10,000,
$10,000.
$15,000.
Well, hopefully it won't get to that point. At least
Maybe it won't, that's right.
Maybe it won't,
You order, you basically give them an order. They have a
If
certain amount
we
of
tear
time.
it down, we can't add the taxes on that property.
No, it's just a lien on the property. Towns can do it that way.
I know we should do it, not very well.
Towns can add it as taxes, and if they don't pay the taxes, then they sold, the county, or whatever, can sell it. Counties can't do that. Now, why? I don't know, but that's the way it's set up. Okay. Don't agree with it, that's the rules we have to live with. So it's just a lien on the property, you'll never get it. If the lien will expire in 10 years, you'll never get it unless they try to sell the property. And then they would have to pay it. But most of the property, quite frankly, there's so many, people that have an interest in the property, like grandma died, and her children never did anything, then now their grandchildren involved, and you have, and that's no problem to be the case with this property. And that's why, because if there was one person, one or two people that had an interest in it, they'd probably be taken care of.
But it's not the same concept like somebody don't pay the taxes, delinquent taxes,